Welcome to the Fearfic Podcast. Fearfic is the term for minuscule horror fiction, mostly posted on the telecommunication boards. It includes any and all related subgenres. Join three rapscallions, jabberwalking plague monster Slimebeast, family values Abysmii, and semi-transparent poltergeist Dead Pallid as they read all stories throughout the history of the halls of horror, paragraph by paragraph, and jib-jab all the while. From interpersonal murder procedurals to bizarre, mind-altering scribblings and everything you'd find in Weird Fiction Monthly, they read it and give thoughtful commentary for your bemusement. You better believe it. Kick it to the cold open, music man.
So I've been playing text games lately, like the old Dungeons &
Hail
Dragons
Luna.
mud.
Man, you're going through that Overwatch withdrawal real bad, aren't you?
The complete opposite of Overwatch.
Oh my god, I can't believe they deleted Overwatch.
Oh no.
It's a very bold move on Blizzard's part.
Yeah. Jeff Kaplan here. We've deleted Overwatch. We think everyone will feel really good about this. Yeah. Yeah. Start over. Do it from the beginning. But yeah, I've been playing text games for a while now. Basically, there's one I've been doing that like randomly generates the scenarios you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it got me thinking of like nostalgia. It got me thinking back in the day, back to my boomer days when in the like late 90s, early 2000s when I first started playing games, and it was, like online games, and it was text games. MUDs, text dungeons. Have you guys ever done that?
Yes.
I've never played a MUD before.
But you've played in the MUD.
I have definitely... playing an actual
Last
MUD?
weekend.
Anyway, so it got me thinking about nostalgia, and I thought of a story that you guys might find entertaining if you would, I want to say endanger me, but I can't think of the right word. If you would indulge me.
Okay.
Okay. So back in the day, when I was a teenager, 14, 15, was the first time I got online, first time I got on the internet. Only thing I could do really was go on AOL, and AOL had some text games that you could play. Just basic shit. I think one was called Gemstone. The other was something else that was like sci-fi themed. But after a while, after a few months, I realized there was more to the internet than AOL. Because you first get on there and you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. There's chat rooms and, the stuff that it shows on the main page, and that's it. So I got into like text MUDs that were like off the beaten path, like the shady parts of the internet where people were running their own. And
So you mean tits?
Yeah, tits. Text
Mm-hmm.
tits. Yeah, sure. But got onto this text MUD, and first thing you see when you get into the game is you walk up to this castle, and there's a guard outside the castle, and you can interact with the guard, you can interact with the environment, all through, typing commands. So what's the first thing I type? Nobody? Okay.
Boobs.
Kill space Guard. Kill guard.
Oh.
Of course the guard instantly kills me, because I have nothing, I just started, so on and so forth. And since this is off the beaten path on the internet, I try a few more commands. I push guard, I hug guard, I do all different crazy stupid stuff, and I type in fuck guard.
Ooh.
Because I'm just typing in anything. And so the game says to me, it puts up the text on the screen, it says, you bend over the guard and fill up the hole him gots. And I was like, at that moment I was like, oh no! Oh dear! And I'm like, I think, can anybody see that? Are there people running the game who can see that? Is anybody hidden in the area? And I never logged on there again, because I was like, oh god, I fucked a guard.
Oh.
So,
Oh god, I fucked a
oh
guard.
god, I fucked a guard.
So that was your first time playing in the MUD?
Yeah, first time playing in the MUD. And, later on, maybe even a year or two later, I'm still doing text MUD stuff, but I'm like actually working on one. Like, people on a different MUD have accepted me as like a creator of things, and I break stuff and I learn as I go, different things like that. But I decide to look up other MUDs again, and I find an erotic MUD.
Mm.
I look on the little lists on like the Angel Fire and GeoCities pages, find an erotic MUD. First thing you see there is not a guard at a castle. When you log into that, you're in this meadow, and there's like a pond, and there's a boulder by the pond, and perched atop the boulder is a maiden with long flaxen blonde hair in a sheer, shimmering gown, and, she beckons you over coyly, and so what's the first thing I type?
Fuck
No.
maiden.
I was going to say not kill maiden. I type out, hands trembling, knees weak, arms heavy, sweat on my brow, checking over my shoulder, make sure nobody's looking. Fuck space maiden, right? Press enter, right? You bend the maiden over and fill up the hole her gots. I'm like, fucking shit, god damn it. I close it out, like, that's nothing. That's just the default phrase that all these muds had, because they were running the same language. So I'm like, god damn it, no workmanship. So that's my Ticci Toby related opening for the show.
Fill up the hole her guts.
Yeah.
That I want to see that on a goddamn fortune cookie, like, one of these days.
You will fill up the hole her gots. What?
What?
Okay.
Oh, I'm getting laid tonight.
Uh-huh.
No, that sounds like the shirt. You would see that on a shirt that somebody has at Walmart.
At
Yeah.
Japanese Walmart.
Yeah, Japanese Walmart. Dude, I want to go to a Japanese Walmart.
Great Walmart, but yeah. All right, so
Would people at a Japanese Walmart be fat?
I don't know. See, the thing is with Japan, and we're kind of digressing a bit here, but, when we get this big story to read, but in Japan, I know there's like a cultural thing where like big muscle men are seen as like effeminate. Is that true?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So maybe at Walmart, everybody's really incredibly anorexically skinny, and everybody goes, ew, what trash, who knows?
Possibly. Ticci Toby.
Ticci Toby.
Oh my god.
Estimated reading time 17 minutes.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh.
Oh.
Written by Kastoway with a K.
So and an O.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna give this its best shot. I'm already seeing the term Tourette syndrome, so I'm already my eyes are skimming and seeing the term Tourette syndrome. I'm excited.
His eyes are skimming, knees weak, arms are slimming. He's in Walmart already.
I'm gonna
Japanese spaghetti.
take this time to the old town. The long road home seemed to go on and on. The road continued to stretch in front of the vehicle endlessly. The light that shone through the branches of the tall green tree danced across the window in random patterns, and every once in a while, obnoxious shining in your eyes.
Okay.
So this is a second-person story?
I guess. And it sounds like once again, we've hit like a indie romance song. Obnoxiously shining in your eyes.
It's not well, yeah, that's the weird thing. Yeah, okay, so it is second person per this first paragraph. Okay. The surroundings were full of deep green trees, forming a forest around the road. The only sound was the sound of the car's engine as it traveled down the path. It was peaceful and left a serene feeling. Although the ride seemed like a nice one, it lacked every form of nice from its two passengers.
So wait a minute. Shining in your eyes, but it's two passengers, which aren't us? So are we like the baby in the back seat or something?
It's a very uncomfortable Uber carpool.
So an Uber carpool. The middle-aged woman behind the steering wheel had neat short brown hair that fit her complexion quite well. But she was bald on top of her head. She wore a green V-neck t-shirt and a pair of blue jeans. Diamond blue stud earrings decorated each of her ears, which partially showed from behind her haircut. She had deep... I want to say right away, this is not what I expected from Ticci Toby. I expected, the teacher made a mean face at the student and he grabbed his butterfly knife,
Oh, I'm sure we're going to get to that, but this is what mom looks like, which is kind of weird.
Mom looks kind of weird. All right, she had deep green eyes, which her shirt brought out, okay? And the lighting seemed to make them more noticeable. There wasn't anything significant about her appearance, okay?
But we just spent 5 sentences. Yeah. Okay.
She looked like any other quote-unquote average mother or entitled parent you would see on TV shows. She looked like any old mother you'd see on a TV show and the like. However, the one thing that made her different than the average mothers, quote-unquote, was the dark bags she had under her eyes. I don't know about that.
So, like an average mother.
Yeah.
Her average mother is being brought up a lot. AM, approach me.
Average mother, is that a sitcom or is that a band name?
It's going to be the new replacement term for MILF. It's just going to be average mother.
Yeah. Her facial expression was gloomy and sad, although she genuinely looked like someone who smiled a lot. She looked so sad in this photograph, but you would absolutely love her when she smiles.
She looked like someone who smiled. How do you ascribe that to someone unless you know that they smile a lot?
Wrinkles?
I was thinking wrinkles, I guess.
Okay.
Luckily, there's an average mother. Luckily, there's a woman who can. Anyway, this so far, nothing about it is like overtly bad, but it is suffering from you can always cut out like the first 5 paragraphs.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of this is really telling us a story so far.
Yeah.
We kind of got like an information dump about what the mother looks like, and I can remember none of it because it's just like it's just like a character sheet, and you want to avoid doing a character sheet.
Yeah, this is introing your D&D character, which makes sense for a D&D game, but not for a story.
She had a scar over her left eye that she got in a duel long ago.
Right.
And, I have never played tabletop games, but I'm imagining when you do kind of like do the character sheet thing, everyone kind of gets a turn at it. So then it's just like, okay, Abysmii's character looks like this, and you can kind of commit that to memory.
Yeah.
Well, it's also entirely optional because most people, they may write it down for posterity or to bring up later, but very rarely is it, they have blonde hair and this is the color of their tunic. And, that's not a thing because no one cares and it doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She would sniffle every once in a while and occasionally glance in the rearview mirror to look at her son in the back seat, Meow, who was hunched over partially with his arms held tight around his chest and his head pressed against the cold window. The boy lacked any normal appearance, and anyone could plainly see there was something wrong with him.
He lacked any normal appearance. He had one eye in the middle of his forehead. His nose was upside down. His mouth...
teeth were on the outside of his cheeks.
Yes.
He's not like other boys. He's hideously deformed.
Yes. I'm not like other girls. I'm incredibly deformed. Okay, Becky.
Okay, Becky.
Yeah.
No, Becky is totally like other girls. She is exactly like other girls, and don't you dare say otherwise.
That's true.
She is, yeah.
His messy brown hair went every which way, and the luminescent lighting... That's what light does. It's luminant. Yeah. The light had a certain luminescence to its illuminating effect. Brought out his pale, almost gray skin. His eyes were dark, unlike his mother's, and he wore a T-shirt and scrub pants that had been provided for him by the hospital. Okay.
Oh, okay. So he's coming out of the hospital. He's been burned with bleach. His eyelids are cut off.
Why would he be wearing scrub pants from the hospital?
Maybe he was helping?
I guess.
He was volunteering to help take care of sick children, but he's an emo teen, so he's like, you're gonna die. There's no God.
He's just blackpilling kids.
New character, possibly?
Meh.
Black Pill Toby?
Yes. Hey kid, here's your cup of pills. They're all black.
Like your insides.
Yeah.
The clothes he just has a job there because he's trying to sneak all the Ritalin off of the kids. That way he's a better gamer.
Oh yeah.
The clothes he wore before were so shredded and bloodstained that they weren't wearable anymore. He had really bad diarrhea.
God damn it. How did you... Okay, I know you had really, really bad diarrhea, and there was a little bit of blood in your stool, but how did you destroy your baseball cap? How did that... I don't know.
Well, I had to stop the diarrhea, so I used my baseball cap.
No, it's like he's going Super Saiyan. He's having diarrhea so hard. God damn it. Oh.
Can somebody out there please make a YouTube poop video where you just have Goku going Super Saiyan, and then at the end you just show the back of his pants turning brown?
I bet you it's been done.
Oh, of course, probably.
If not, the fan fiction's out there. The right side of his face bared a few cuts along with a split eyebrow. His right arm was bandaged all the way to the shoulder, which had been shredded when his right arm hit the shattered glass. So he suffered some sort of heinous injury.
He was hip checked in a hockey game into the glass?
Yeah.
maybe.
That would explain the pale skin and messy hair.
Yep.
Yeah. His injuries appeared to be painful. No shit. When in reality, he couldn't feel anything. Oh no, he is emo. I don't feel anything except pain, but even then I can't feel it.
Yeah.
This was just one of the glories of being him.
I feel nothing but pain, which I don't feel.
One of the challenges he had to face while growing up was growing up with a rare disease that caused him to be completely numb towards pain. Oh, so it's that one villain from James Bond where he has the bullet in his brain that's cutting off all his nerve. I think.
Paino.
The Mary Sue disease.
Very
Shall we meet again, Paino?
Paino.
Never before had he felt himself get hurt. He could have lost an arm.
Paino, your hands on the stove.
Shut up, Bond. I don't care.
Let me tell you about when I masturbate. It's always a stranger.
God damn it.
The other major disorder he
They
had
call
faced...
him the stranger. Why do they call you that? Oh, no reason.
That's the secret, Cap. I'm always giving myself a stranger.
Want to know how I got these scars? How? I don't know. Someone tell me.
Fucking hell.
The other major disorder he had faced, which was the one that deemed him many insulting nicknames in the short time he attended grade school before he switched to homeschooling, was his Tourette's syndrome, which caused him to tick and twitch in ways he couldn't control. He would crack his neck uncontrollably, like it just spun around 360 degrees.
He would
every
grab
time.
his chin and the back of his head and snap his neck.
And twitch every once in a while. The kids would tease him and call him Ticci Toby, and they mocked him with exaggerated twitching and laughing. It got so bad he had to turn to homeschooling. It was too hard for him to be in a common learning environment with seemingly every kid poking, or more like stabbing, fun at him.
So, if this dropped the inability to feel pain, and dropped everything about where it's going and making this an icon pasta character, not a bad skeleton for a story, at least. I mean, I'm surprised. When I hear Ticci Toby, I think, random, Slenderman proxy bullshit.
Sure.
I didn't expect it to be Ticci Toby is literally named that because he has physical tics.
It's really good. It's actually really good. I like that.
See, this is the problem, that the reputation, ruined the story.
No.
I'm not saying it's perfect, but
No, I think that the setup is interesting. It's like the premise of Jeff the Killer, of kid wants revenge and then gets horribly disfigured and then kind of embraces the disfigurement. That, again, is not a terrible skeleton either.
Right. All right. Toby stared blankly out the window, his face empty of any emotion, in other words, blankly, and every few minutes his shoulder, arm, or foot would twitch. Every bump that the car tires hit would make his stomach turn. Toby Rogers was the boy's name, and the last time Toby remembered riding in a car was when it crashed. Okay, so he was riding a Zamboni at the hockey rink.
He lost control of his Zamboni, and it flipped and went through the glass and crashed into the crowd.
Toby
Killing 30 people?
Yes. Toby crashed a Zamboni. Stop making fun of me. That's all he thought about, unconsciously replaying everything he remembered before he blacked out, over and over again. Okay.
I want, I know he doesn't animate anymore, but I want Zach, Psychic Pebbles, to animate that, because I just see it in his style.
Hey, Psychic Pebbles, we know you listen to the show.
Toby had been the lucky one. His sister had not been so lucky.
Oh, no.
She got thrown clear off the Zamboni.
She went sliding across the glass, across the ice into the goal. Toby could still hear the
my ears are ringing. No, it's your sister's head.
Ironically, his sister's name was Lucky, though.
So when the thought of sister came, he couldn't help.
The thought of sister came.
I thought it was me.
Sister Kane was my favorite nun in Catholic school.
Sister Mary came. He couldn't, help the tears that welled up in his eyes. The horrible memories replayed in his mind. Her screaming that had cut off when the front of the car was smashed in. It all went blank for a moment before Toby opened his eyes to see his sister's body, her forehead pierced with glass shards, her hip and leg crushed under the force of the steering wheel, her torso pushed in from the too late inflated airbag.
Oh, this is very clunky.
It's a horrifying scene delivered in a way that is like, I want to be with you, but
it's a coroner's report, and like it's just so matter of fact.
The too late inflated airbag.
It's also unfortunate because it's just not realistic. Like, I have never seen a Zamboni with an airbag.
That's true.
Right. Well, after this case, they all, it was required that they all have airbags.
They called it Lucky's Law, but anyway.
Listen. Lucky's Law. Listen, everyone's always talking about all of these mass shootings, but we don't talk about the statistic that really matters. Zamboni-related homicides.
God damn it.
There's just something about the Zamboni, like, going 50 miles per hour all of a sudden and flipping over an ice rink. It's just so fucking funny.
Rolling into the audience of onlookers. Why are they there watching when the Zamboni is cleaning the ice? Who knows?
It just keeps going. It just keeps rolling and rolling.
Oh, man.
It rolls straight through the fucking wall. And keeps rolling on the road.
Out into the Canadian frozen north.
Yes.
To this day, they say it's still Zamboniing the world.
It's just throwing moose blood everywhere.
Oh, man. DP, would you say that everybody in its path got completely Zamboned?
Oh, that was the last thing he had seen of his dear older sister.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
We have
home.
No respect.
I'm sorry. It's just, the way it's written makes it very difficult to get invested. Because it's just sad mom, broken son, Zambonied sister, and a
entitled parent says, "My son can ride the Zamboni if he wants to."
God damn it. The road home continued on for what seemed like forever. It took so long to get home because his mom wanted to avoid the site of the crash. What? It's still there? You mean the place where it happened? The site of the crash? Okay, that's the problem. Site should be S-I-T-E.
Yeah.
That's the location. Site is the actual visual of it.
Yeah, she wanted to avoid seeing the crash. And
now,
it was a big area because you never know when it's going to roll by, you know?
Yeah, you don't know.
It took so long to get home because the rental Zamboni only went 5 miles an hour.
God damn it. And they had to travel by frozen river.
It is unfortunate just the way this is written because I got, I've brought this up before, I got T-boned not too far from my house.
Yes, I forgot about that. That was awesome.
I forgot.
And, I had to drive that same road the next day, and for, a year, I tried to avoid that road because it was just fucking scary to me. So that is a real thing.
Right.
Unfortunately, this story is just not presenting this in a compelling manner.
Did you not want to drive that road because you wanted to avoid the sight of your car with you in it on the side of the road still?
I wanted to avoid the sight of the gigantic hole in the retaining wall that the back of my car made, because it was that didn't get fixed for a while.
Man.
When the surroundings gave way to a familiar neighborhood, they were both more than ready to get out of the car and step back into their own home. It was an older neighborhood with quaint little houses all next to each other and all made of ticky-tacky. Ticky-tacky, Ticci Toby! Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, the car drove in front of a blue house with white window panes. They both quickly noticed the old vehicle that was parked in front of the house and the familiar figure that stood in the driveway.
It was Zamboni Joe. Go ahead.
Zamboni Joe.
Sorry.
Toby felt automatic anger and frustration take over him at the sight of his father. His father who wasn't there.
But they just said he was there.
He got out of Zamboni and angry.
God damn it. His mother pulled the car up in the driveway beside him before turning off the engine and preparing to step out and face her husband. Do you remember this started saying you, like this was in second person?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
What?
It's almost like it's written like a screenplay. The audience sees the car and it sees the forest around them, and it sees a woman, and then it switches when dialogue happens. But it's just not. We need to clean this motherfucker up.
Why? Where is he? Why is he here?
Where is he?
Where are the other Zambonis going? Why is he here? Toby said quietly as he looked back at his mother, who reached to open the car door. He's your father, Toby. He's here because he wants to see you. His mother responded in a monotone voice. Nope, trying to sound less shaky.
Yet he couldn't drive up to the hospital to see Lyra before she died.
Oh.
Toby narrowed his eyes out the window.
Wait a minute, is it Ticci Toby and Lucky Lyra?
Oh, no.
Mm.
He was drunk that night, honey. He couldn't drive. Yeah, when is he not? Toby pushed the door open before his mother and stumbled out onto the driveway, where he met his father's gaze before looking down at his feet with a stern expression.
Can you believe it? He disappoints his son and he brings his gaze to meet with him.
It's just, oh man, inconsiderate. His mother stepped out behind him and met her husband's eyes before walking around the car.
Did we skip DP or no?
We might have, I don't know.
No, we didn't.
It just was a short,
okay, good.
short couple paragraphs. His father opened up his arms, expecting a hug from his wife, but she walked past him and put her arm around Toby's shoulder, ow, and started leading him inside.
With arms wide open. Oh, never mind, okay.
Connie, her husband began in a raspy voice. What? No welcome home hug? Huh?
She ignored her husband's obnoxious words and walked past him with her son under her arm. Hey, he's 16. He can walk by himself. His father...
He's 16. He can walk by himself with Jesus.
His father began to follow them in.
He's 17.
Oh, no. He's 17? I don't know why. It's a Cockney. Yes, Tracer.
He's 17, love.
Hello, hey.
It's
Cheers.
called Zamboni.
Cheers, love. The Zamboni's here.
That's what happened. Tracer is just flying a Zamboni.
That's going to be Overwatch 2, everybody.
Yes.
Connie glared back at him before opening the door to the house and stepping inside.
Toby, why don't we get you in your room to rest, okay? I'll come get you when dinner's ready. No, I'm 16. I can walk by myself, Toby said sarcastically and glared back at his father before stumbling up the small staircase and turning into his room, where he slammed the door violently.
Imagine if, like, he had a leg severed in the accident. It's like, no, I can walk by myself.
Thud. Oh, alright. His little room didn't have much in it. Just a small bed, a dresser, a window, some Pumpofop figures.
Stroking out.
The off-brand Chinese bootleg Funko Pop figures called Pumpofop. With characters such as Morky Mice, Bort Slumpson,
Man of Iron,
President Omaba,
President Mambo.
A dresser, a window, and his walls, and the sweat dripping down his balls. Had a few picture frames of his family, back when they were a family, before his father became an alcoholic and acted violently toward the rest of his family.
I'm feeling very attacked by this story.
Wait a minute.
I'm feeling very told by the story and not shown by anything. He is violent and alcoholic, but we have not seen that from the father, so it's like weird to feel that.
He could have showed up drunk when he was there. Toby remembered when he was arguing with his mom, and he grabbed her by the hair and shoved her to the floor right in front of him. And when Lyra had tried to break it up, he pushed her, and she hit her back on the corner of the kitchen counter, fell onto the Zamboni, and flew away into the night.
Flew into fucking space!
Yeah. Toby could never forgive him for what he did to his mother and sister. Never. And author, I just want to say, I know this is fiction, the fictional account and everything, but in case this is drawn from any real-life experience, we don't mean any harm.
Yeah, we're assuming it's not.
Right.
And even if it is, yeah.
I kind of get where Slimebeast is coming from here, because it feels a little bit like... it feels a little too real. It's not like... You can't see the scene fully played out, but it does feel kind of like it might be something drawing from life.
Sure.
It's not one of those typical creepypasta things where it's like, you know, when he found that his daughter had messed with the Ackerman report files, he flew into a rage. That job is very important. I'll be a laughingstock at the company, he shouted, you know. But anyway.
Ackerman stock is a great Floompo pop.
Fucking hell.
Toby didn't care how much his father beat him down. He couldn't feel it anyway. What did he care about how he was intentionally hurt? What he cared about was how he intentionally hurt the other two people he cared about. And when he was waiting in the hospital where his sister took her last breath,
yes,
the only one who didn't rush there was his dad.
Well, it's in his dad's defense. Driving a Zamboni from work to the hospital is real slow.
God damn
the
it.
ambulance shows up and it's
The Zambulance? So we've established the story takes place in Canada, and we've established that every conveyance is a Zamboni.
But it's got to be like rural Canada, and it's just everyone drives Zambonis because their main export are fucking ice rinks.
Toby went to the circus where they saw the clown ride the Uniboni.
God damn it. Toby stood by the window and looked out at the street. A bunch of parallel parked Zambonis lined the driveways.
Fucking hell.
He could have swore he saw something out of the corner of his eye, but quickly blamed it on the meds he was on.
Is that Slenderman?
Mm-hmm.
He's taking those black pills, getting to see Slenderman. You got to take the black pills to see Slenderman.
Right.
True.
The black pills are just Slenderman eggs.
The black pills are my favorite Slenderman
cover band?
Black Keys cover band.
Yeah. Black Keys cover band. Because they're all wearing Slenderman morph suits. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. When dinner time had come and his mother called up to him, Toby came down the stairs and hesitantly sat down at the table across from his father and in between his mother and an empty chair. It was quiet as his parents picked at their food, but Toby refused to eat. Instead, he just watched his dad with a blank stare. His mother caught on to his staring and elbowed him slightly directly into his wounded arm, because apparently everything's fucked up with him. Toby looked over at her slightly and then down at his uneaten food, which he still didn't touch.
What's the point? I can't feel the food anyway.
I can't taste food.
I didn't want to have this Zamboneless chicken. Right. Toby laid in B. I think that's supposed to be bed. I'm not sure. Toby laid in B. He pulled his covers over his head and stared at the window. He was tired, but there was no way he would fall asleep. He couldn't. There was too much to think about. He had been debating on whether or not to follow his mother's directions and forgive his father, or continue holding a grudge with his boiling hatred. He heard his door creak open, and his mother padded into the room, and sat on the bed next to him. She reached over and rubbed his back, which had been turned to her. I don't like where this is going.
Sure. I could choose to forgive my father, or we could have a story.
That's true.
I know it's hard, Toby. Trust me.
Wait, I don't like where this is going. I know it's hard, Toby.
But I promise you will get better, she said softly. What is he going to leave? Toby said with an innocent tone and a shaking voice. Connie let her gaze fall down to her feet. I don't know, honey. He's staying as far as I know, she replied. I don't understand what this home situation is. Are they together?
They are together. He wants them to divorce, I think.
Basically, the sister was driving Toby somewhere. They were in an accident and the sister died. Toby was in the hospital and the father never came to visit, I guess? Or didn't right away or anything, which means he didn't see Toby in the hospital, and he also wasn't there for the daughter dying. So Toby's like, I hate him, and plus he has the past of abuse. So it's like,
but
why is
Are Connie and the father together?
Yeah.
I would assume so. Yeah.
I don't get it.
Like they're still married. They're.
Why would Connie then be saying, I don't know, honey. He's staying as far as I know. That doesn't...
Because she doesn't know what to tell her son.
Plus, the husband
yeah.
being drunk and erratic, they probably don't have many conversations about their future together.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. Toby didn't respond. He just continued to look forward at the wall. And after he's holding his damaged arm near his chest.
After a few minutes of silence, his mother sighed before she leaned in to kiss his cheek and stood up to walk out of the room. Good night, she said as she closed the door. The hours passed slowly, and Toby couldn't quit tossing and turning. Every time he let his imagination take over, he heard the screeching of Zambonis, the screaming of his sister, and he would uncontrollably jerk in bed.
Oh,
he threw off his...
I don't like where this is going.
He threw off his cover, and lying on his back, he pulled his pillow over his face and cried into it. He could hear his own...
That's how I finish as well.
Oh, every time. Because sex is shameful. You should feel bad about it.
You don't want to finish with the covers over you.
No.
It's messy.
He could hear his own pitiful weeping, I would assume so. He would have been screaming and crying if E didn't press pillow over his face. Press E to...
Yes, press E! You got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be remaking Silent Hill 2. This time, you press E to put the pillow over your wife's face. Spoilers.
But yeah, I agree. You do want to get rid of the covers when you finish, because, I do that all the time because I don't want to finish on He-Man's face. After a few seconds, he threw the pillow off his face and sat up, hunched over and angry, holding his head and breathing roughly, tears streaming from his eyes. He couldn't help but cry.
He already was.
Yeah. He tried to keep it in, but he couldn't stop the whining and whimpering as he sat there shaking. He inhaled before he stood up and angry and walked around his bed to the window and peered out and angry, taking deep breaths trying to calm down. He rubbed his eyes and angry and looked out at the group of tall pine trees across the street. They were like,
here we go.
The group of tall pine trees in their leather jackets and sunglasses and slick back hair looked at him and said, "Hey, look at this kid, it's Ticci Toby, hey."
It's like, I want to be a part of your group. Hey, we're the tall tree greasers.
We're the naughty pines.
Hey.
No.
He stopped suddenly, and his gaze slowly centered on something standing under the streetlight. He heard ringing in his ears and couldn't look away. The figure stood beside the streetlight, about 2 feet shorter than he did.
Nope. Then
it did. Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
Long arms draped at its sides as it stared up at him with non-existing eyes. Oh, so it literally is Slenderman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. The figure had no facial features to speak of, no eyes, no mouth, no nose, yet it held Toby's hypnotized stare, seemingly peering into his very being. The ringing in his ears grew louder and louder. Each second he stared before suddenly it all went black.
So here's a question for you guys.
Blacked.
God damn it. Toby got black. No, what's the matter? I can't feel it. So, my question is this. Is this before Marble Hornets, or is Marble Hornets before this?
Oh, this is after Marble Hornets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we can't really give it credit with...
That's
an interesting... Maybe this was one of the first stories to have a proxy of Slenderman.
No.
I'll say this, though. I've recently read a lot of Slenderman-related stories, and they just always get Slenderman wrong. Whether or not this is of good quality, they are getting Slenderman and the proxy relationship correct.
All right. Well, let me, Abysmii, if you don't mind, I'll take the next paragraph after Brandon has said the story is getting Slenderman, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Slenderman came flailing up to Ticci Toby with jazz hands. "Hello, son!" he shouted. No. Okay, go ahead.
The next morning, Toby woke in his bed. He felt different. He wasn't tired at all. And when he consciously woke up, it felt like he had been lying there awake for hours. Okay? He had no thoughts flowing through his mind. He sat up slowly and angry and stumbled over to the wall and angry. But when he stood, he automatically felt dizzy and angry.
It works. It works for everything.
It does. It does. He stumbled to the doorway and walked down the stairs. His parents were sitting at the table. His father was tuned into the small TV that sat on the countertop. What year does this take place?
I don't know, but I like to think they never left the table the previous night.
He's just been it the entire time.
Yeah.
And his mother was reading the newspaper. She quickly looked over when she felt Toby's presence looming behind her.
I don't like where this is going. Well, good morning, sleepyhead. You've been sleeping forever, she greeted him with a hesitant smile. Toby slowly looked over to the clock and noticed that it was 12:30 p.m. I made you breakfast, but it got cold. I was going to wake you, but I felt you needed sleep. Her expression...
I was going to wake you, but I didn't.
Yeah, I was going to wake you, but I was like, fuck, I don't want to deal with that bastard. Her expression fell from happy to worried as her son resisted responding to her. Are you all right?
Toby stumbled over and sat by his father and angry. He felt as if he was one idle and had no control over his actions. He was seeing everything he did, but didn't register in his... But it didn't register. But I didn't register in his brain properly. This has been first person, second person, and third person now.
All in the same story. Congratulations, author.
He reached out to his father's arm, and his hand ended up getting slapped.
Jeez.
His father turned to him abruptly and angry and pushed his chair over with his foot.
Pushed it over with his foot.
Put it with it did.
Oh my God, I know who the father is.
Oh,
don't you reach over and touch me.
Harvey
Don't touch me,
Bickle.
boy.
Harvey Bickle.
Now listen, when I married your mum, I promised her that I would beat the fuck out of you every day.
I impregnated her, I did. And I told her, we're going to abuse this boy real good.
You were conceived whilst on a Zamboni.
Yeah. I ran it over several young hockey players in the junior league. But anyway.
That's why your name's Zamboni Toby.
Come over here and sit on me lap, Zamboni.
Oh, God. Don't touch me, boy, he yelled. His mother stood up and angry. All right, know that off.
Know that off.
It should be knock that off, but it's got a W and no CK. That is the last thing we need. The days went by, and things continued on as they were. Connie spent most of her time cleaning the house, and her rude husband spent most of his time ordering her around. It was just like how it used to be before the crash.
The really dark thing that we probably shouldn't touch is now we know why he has all of these defects if his father is Harvey Bickle. Toby never really left his room. He would sit by his bed and tremble. His mind would wonder, but his thoughts changed too fast to be remembered. He would pace around his small room like a caged animal and stare out the window. The unhealthy cycle continued.
There are glimpses of a good in-depth story here, and I think that this is a little bit of it. Like the idea of his ideas were going through his head too fast for him to remember them all, which I think is a very relatable adolescent idea put to words in an interesting way.
And it's kind of interesting because I don't know if I'm just reading too much into it, but it seems to be implying that the visit from Slenderman cleared his mind of like the accident and everything.
Some way.
Like he's not thinking about the accident, he's actually going to forgive his father when he's rebuked, and he's, in his room, his thoughts are going by really quickly. He's not like focused on one thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do think that it's also important to point out this probably English second language.
Maybe.
Is my guess.
Maybe? I have no idea.
Connie continued to be pushed around by her husband, being way too submissive to him. His husband, Harvey Bickle, liked to be topped.
God damn it.
Oh, she's too submissive, she is.
Yeah, I don't get what's wrong. She's so submissive, even though I keep slapping her around. Yeah.
And Toby remained in his room. Before he could think twice, he would begin to chew on his hand, tearing off the flesh from his fingers. What? He would gnaw his hand until it bled.
The kids who grew up with the genetic defect where they can't feel pain often lose their, fingers and stuff like that because as toddlers they chew them off. So it's I think it's kind of playing on that.
Maybe.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Unfortunately.
Damn.
When his mother walked in on him, he was still doing so. She reacted horribly. Why can't you just be masturbating like a normal, healthy boy?
Stop chewing it off.
It doesn't feel right, Mom. It doesn't feel like it's coming from my hand.
Toby, you can't feel anything.
She rushed him downstairs and grabbed the first aid kit, wrapping his hand in bandages. Afterward, she demanded that he wouldn't leave her side again.
He started gnawing on her. No.
Toby isolated himself so much that he grew to hate being around others. His memory grew glitchy as well. He started missing memories of minutes, hours, days, and so on.
Pacing.
His memory grew glitchy, sort of like the visuals in the game Slender.
He would begin talking nonsense about things completely unrelated to the conversations he would have. If he's isolating himself, what conversations would he be having? He'd go off about seeing things, sharks in the sink as he washed the dishes, hearing crickets in his pillows, and seeing ghosts outside his bedroom window. His mother grew so anxious about his mental health that she decided it would be good for him to talk to a professional about what he was feeling. Yeah, if he starts ripping the skin off of his hands, that's probably the time to seek a professional, not later.
I think maybe when his sister is killed in a crash in front of him, that might be a good time to see a therapist. I don't know. Call me
Extreme
crazy.
trauma. Yeah.
Connie walked Toby into the building, holding his hands and guiding him in. She walked him... Why is there double meaning in everything? She walked him up to the front desk and began talking to the lady who sat behind it. Mrs. Rogers, the lady asked. Was that the last name before? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's me, Connie nodded. We're here to see Dr. Oliver. I'm here with Toby Rogers. Yes, right this way. The lady stood and She led them down a long hallway. Toby threw a hot dog down it. Toby looked at the framed artwork down the halls and tuned into the sound of the lady's high heels on the hardwood floor. Okay.
Are we supposed to be cueing in some sort of like autistic cues here?
I don't know.
Because it feels like they're doing it in like little bits, but like it doesn't feel like there's a consistent idea of what his mental issues are.
I was thinking when he started seeing things and hearing things, I was thinking, is this like developing into schizophrenia or,
PTSD?
Because it's kind of like schizophrenia, but then like also it's a little bit like he has these autistic, things where he's picking up on things that, normal people wouldn't. But then he's also kind of ADHD and he has Tourette's and he has this rare disorder that makes him not have pain. Like it feels like it just needs to focus in.
That's the problem with front loading so many problems in the beginning of your story. Like it's a wreck of a human being, so there's nowhere really to go other than further just issues, and it loses its effectiveness pretty early on.
And I'll say this because I know I'm anticipating people are saying, well, comorbidity is a thing. Like you have certain things that go along with other things, and it's like, yes, but like how many people are out there that have schizophrenia, ADHD, Tourette syndrome, and are somewhere on the autism spectrum?
Can smell colors.
Smell colors, and has a pica. He loves eating paint, and
so my question is though, if
profoundly dyslexic.
Yeah. Uh-oh. But
no, he is autistic because autistic people tend to get obsessed with a certain subject, and he just fucking loves Zamboni.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's nurture against nature, I think.
But I do wonder.
People would be having. His parents are sitting down having a conversation. It's like, what would you like for dinner, Toby? I like the Model 378-92 Zamboni.
But I do wonder if we're going to run into that problem that certain stories have run into, perhaps unfairly, but maybe in this case it'll be fair, where it's going to be mental health issues equals serial killer,
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll run into that or not, but
I kind of think we might not, because I think in this case it's kind of like tragedy results in tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he ends up killing both of his parents and the mom, like, so far does not deserve it whatsoever, a la Jeff the Killer, then it's going to be unearned. So, I don't know.
I don't know. I heard you slip Allah in there, and I'm not sure where you're going with that. But okay, let's continue.
Anyway, the mom's complicit, and she is also at fault, yes. She opened the door to the room with a table and 2 chairs. If I can get him to sit in here for a few minutes, I'll get the doctor, she smiled and held the door open. Toby stumbled into the room like, what up, I got a big cock, and sat down at the table. He looked over at his mother and the lady before the door slowly shut behind them. He looked around the room before he held up his tightly bandaged hand and began to bite the bandages to unwrap his hand. But he was interrupted as the door swung open and a young woman in a black and spotted dress with light blonde hair stepped in, holding a clipboard and a pen.
There she goes. There she goes again.
Why is it spotted?
'Cause
It's black and spotted. It's not a black spotted dress. It's a black dress and it's spotted with something.
got 2 small chairs and an autistic kid. Where is that? Toby, she asked with a smile. Toby looked up at her and nodded. Nice to meet you, Toby. My name is Dr. Oliver. She put her hand out for him to shake by hesitantly pulled away when she noticed his bandaged hands. It's a new, you buy hesitantly when you don't know if you're bi-curious or not?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, she smiled nervously before clearing her throat and sitting in the chair across the table from him.
Nope.
So I'm going to ask, what?
Across the table.
Sitting in a chair across the table from him.
Nope.
Across the table from him.
From him. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Try to answer them as honestly as possible, okay? She placed her clipboard down on the table. Toby nodded slowly and held his restrained hands in his lap.
How old are you, Toby? Old enough to have seen the Model 487 Zamboni when it was in its prime, he responded. No, 17. 17, he responded quietly. She wrote that down on the paper that was clipped to the clipboard. Yeah, of course. What's your full name? Toby Aaron Rogers.
Toby A.A. Ron Rogers.
God damn it. What is your age? 17. It's like, yes, making progress. Yes. We're getting close to something here.
Oh, God. So, who am I thinking of that's like a spree shooter named Rogers? Elliot Rogers? Toby Elliot Rogers. Anyway, what is it? Just no quotation mark at the beginning of this. When is your birthday? April 28th. Who is your immediate family? Toby paused for a minute before answering her question. My mom, my dad, and he stopped. My sister.
My Zamboni.
My Zamboni. My Zamboni has a first name. It's Zamboni.
My Zamboni has only one name. I'm going to say it again.
I watched my sister die. All right, I'm done.
I heard about your sister, dear. I'm really sorry. Her expression faded into a sad, pity-filled look. Toby nodded. Yes, you are sad about it. Do you remember anything from the crash, Toby? Toby looked away from her. His mind went blank for a moment. He looked down at his lap, and in the surrounding area he heard a faint ringing sound.
Of his lap?
His eyes... Why is my penis ringing?
That's new.
Dr. Oliver, ask not for whom the penis tolls. It tolls for thee.
It tolls for the spotted dress.
Yeah. Not again, she said, counting the spots on her dress.
He's never washed out.
His eyes widened and he froze in place. Toby asked.
Uncomfortable boner.
Can you hear that? The cry of my boner.
It is the beating of the telltale boner.
Toby,
it's here, underneath the bandages.
He was biting his penis skin, giving himself a circumcision.
God damn it.
Toby, are you listening? Toby felt a shiver go down his spine until he froze once again and slowly looked out the little window through the door. Okay, where he saw it. I thought the door was closed.
It's a window in the door, I guess.
There was a door and a window, then another door, and then another window.
This was a weird hospital.
Non-Euclidean hospital. The dark featureless figure. Figureless feature. featureless figure.
You want to
peering
talk
in.
about a figureless feature? Ghostbusters 2016, am I right?
God damn it. He stared, eyes wide, the ringing growing louder and louder until suddenly a loud voice of the counselor broke his trance. "Toby!" she yelled.
"Zambonis!" he responded.
Oh, God. This story is breaking us. Toby jumped and fell sideways out of his chair and backed up into the corner. Dr. Oliver stood up and angry, holding her clipboard to her chest, a surprised look in her eyes. Toby met her eyes again, his breath hitching as he twitched.
Hitching as he's twitching.
Ugh.
Hitching and twitching and hitching and twitching.
That night, Toby lay in bed. Oh, I guess that's the end of that scene.
Yeah.
His eyes were dazed as he stared straight up at his ceiling. He could feel himself begin to doze off when he heard the scattering of footsteps down his hall. He sat up and looked towards the doorway, his door wide open.
Fucking hell.
There was no light. Everything was lit by the luminescent blue glow of the moon through his window.
So there
leaving
was
it
light.
cold lighting. Yeah, there was no light except for the very bright moon. He stood up and slowly made his way toward the doorway when suddenly the door, which previously was wide open, slammed in his face. He gasped and fell back.
He was out of breath when he hit the ground, and he began breathing heavily, his eyes wide open. It literally says that, folks.
It's just like Korea. We're not inserting these wide opens. This is like the fifth one in 2 paragraphs.
He waited for a few seconds before getting back onto his feet. He reached out and grasped the cold door handle with his bandaged hand instead of hand, and it creaked open. He looked out into the dark hallway.
How much did it creak open?
It creaked. What? Okay, is the lead singer of Creed vomiting on stage? But he keeps singing.
That's what Scotch Stapp does every single concert.
He's vomiting blood as he's going. Audience.
Everyone's like, "Oh, Creed, this nice little Christian metal band." No, those guys are fucking hardcore.
He looked out into the dark hallway and tiptoed out of his room. The window at the end of the hallway was lit up the darkness with blue moonlight, we know that, as he padded his way down. He could hear footsteps rustling around him, and faint giggling followed by the pitter-patter of small feet, which sounded like a child had run in front of him, giggling and running around. The hallway was a lot longer than he remembered. It seemed endless, like the ride home from the hospital. He heard the door creak in front of him again.
Okay, it's gotta be Slenderman, right? However, as described, all we are given is that it's a featureless tall figure, not black suit, red tie.
Cadillac, the Boys of Time Bomb.
Okay, okay. We need to have this important discussion. Fuck your discussion. Also, you're wrong. It's totally his.
It totally is, but this edition of the child laughter.
Listen, Harvey Bickle brought his work home with him.
Oh God.
Here's the important question, and I need people to comment below. Red tie, black tie, Slenderman. Which one?
Oh, red tie.
Oh,
Okay.
red tie. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
No,
that's
red
bullshit.
tie.
No.
Slenderman is obviously Republican.
Okay. God damn it. Okay, so as funny as that would be to explore, let's move on. Tan arms or blue arms Slenderman?
Damn arms or blue arm.
Yes.
Big dick or big breast Slenderman. Or both. Fuck it.
Trans Slenderman.
Trans man? Slender trans.
Slender trans, yeah. Slender they.
You know what, trans community? Please actually do that. Please, just take Slenderman. The LGBT community took the Babadook. Fucking do that. Seriously. That would be so goddamn funny.
Somebody out there make a graphic of Slenderman where it says Slenderman said trans rights. That's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Oh my god. Mom, he called in a shaky voice. Suddenly a door slammed behind him and he jumped and turned around. Behind him, he heard a long, eerie groan that sounded like a croak right in his ear.
Oh, the Grudge.
Turned around as fast as he could, and then he also turned around again. And then he kept turning around, and then he eventually threw up because he got discombobulated.
Somebody-
You spin me right round, baby, right round, right round, right round, right round.
That giggling child must have placed the lazy Susan in the hallway.
He turned around as fast as he could and was suddenly face to face with none other than his dead sister, not Slenderman, you fucking idiot.
Oh.
His eyes were clouded. Her eyes, sorry, wrong pronouns. Her eyes were clouded white, her skin pale. Maybe it was also Slenderman.
Sister man.
Sister trans.
Sister Tranboni.
Ooh, we're losing our fucking minds on this one, guys.
I need more vodka. I can't do this.
The right side of her jaw was dangling there by tissue and muscle. Her mouth was wide open.
Fuck.
Glass protruding from her forehead. She was a fucking unicorn.
God damn it.
Glassicorn.
Black blood leaking down from her face. Skin pale already. Blood leaking from her forehead already. Her blonde hair pulled up in a ponytail as it always was. And she was wearing a gray t-shirt and athletic shorts, which were dirty and spotted with blood.
Just like the dress. Wait a minute.
Her legs were bent.
Her legs are wide open.
She stood admitting, ready to accept Jesus.
God damn it.
Immaculate conception with a dead girl.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Literally.
exactly.
So why is she like, okay, she stood there emitting a long croaking noise only an inch away from Toby's face. So
Toby, what if you join Slenderman?
So she's turned into the Jew on Grudge thing.
Yeah.
She's like, Toby, what if you... and that's it.
This is just all over the fucking place. But
the hanging jaw, that was also in the Grudge movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm frustrated.
It's a smorgasbord of creepy figure and abuse.
It's a smorgasbord of board.
The Zamboni board. Toby yelped and fell back. Ah! He started to crawl backward away from her, but he was unable to break the eye contact he held with her blank, dead eyes. He dragged himself backward until he backed up into something.
It was a clown.
Which way was he going again? I couldn't tell. He stopped for a second. Everything was dead silent except for his heavy breathing and crying, so nothing was dead silent. He slowly looked up to meet the blank face of a tall, dark figure.
Ooh.
The same figure that stood over him now.
Wait.
What?
Yeah.
He looked up to meet the blank face of a tall, dark figure, the same figure that stood over him.
He looked up at the person standing over him, yeah.
And the person was standing over him.
It was the wacky flailing arm inflatable tube man from outside the Zamboni dealership.
Mocking his dreams.
Come on down to crazy
Canuck.
Yeah, that's what I was
Crazy Canuck, Zerald Zamboni.
Zerald Zamboni's Zamboni dealership.
God damn it. Behind the tall, dark mask were rows of children looking to range from 3 to 10 years old. Their eyes completely black, and dark black blood leaked from their eye sockets. Holy shit.
Man, fuck this. Don't envision black leaking blood out of a bunch of children's faces. Just imagine the pure joy of a Zamboni dealership.
Yes. Oh, God.
It's like
With your happy place.
It's like 10 acres of space, but there's only like 5 Zambonis because Zambonis are fucking huge.
What
do I got to do to get you off this lot driving on this here Zamboni?
What do I gotta do to get you on this Zamboni and that Zamboni off of this lot and back onto that ice rink?
Oh, God. Slaps
Remember to
roof
keep
of
it under 50 or you know what'll happen.
Slaps roof of Zamboni. This baby can fit so many Zambonis.
Slaps roof of Zamboni. This can kill so many hockey viewers.
Hockey
Hockey fans.
I was about to say hockey pedestrians.
Fucking hell. Hockey pedestrians? So you mean U.S. hockey teams?
This is just punctuated by the fact that over Thanksgiving I went to a hockey game And the Zamboni, whenever they brought it out, they had like some lucky fan who got to fucking like ride in the passenger seat. And the entire time my family's watching this, and at one point my dad just looks at us and says, "Why the fuck does a Zamboni have a passenger seat?"
It's true.
What's the point?
They called out Abysmii's seat number. The Jumbotron zoomed in on him. He walked out onto the ice and he got T-boned by the Zamboni.
It was I had skates on, so it like bumped me, and I just kind of like glided back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to call out the lucky seat number of the viewer who will be hit by the Zamboni. Will it be you?
Okay.
Say goodbye to everyone you hold dear and prepare to become a smear.
Fuck you. Whose turn is it?
Probably mine.
All right.
He screamed and stood up as fast as he could, only to be tripped by dark black tendrils that wrapped around his ankle. He fell straight on his stomach, I don't like where this is going, and got the wind knocked out of him. He tried to scream, but he couldn't make a sound. He wheezed out before it all went black.
He wheezed out?
Yeah.
Is that what happens when like someone punches you so hard in the stomach that you...
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like something you'd hear like in a 90s skating and or surfing movie. Man, dude, he totally wheezed out on that one. Toby woke with a start. He screamed out and sat up as fast as he could, again with the fast as he could, completely short of breath. He wheezed out.
What the fuck?
He, like, totally wheezed out and held his chest with his bandaged hands. It was just a dream. Just a dream, dude. He lay back down on his bogus bed and rolled over on his side, doing a sick ollie on the way.
Nice. He does an ollie with the Zamboni?
Yes.
He was on the half pipe with the Zamboni.
It was really slow, but it was awesome.
That's how it happened. He was attempting a 900 with a Zamboni and just went horribly wrong.
Right.
So he's Zamboniing the rink.
Down the half pipe.
But then he's like, gotta go faster, so he picks up speed and then like gets it up on the walls of the rink and just keeps going, and everyone's psyched about it, but then loses control and flies off into the crowd.
God damn it.
God damn it.
Someone animate this!
Yes.
It's fucking hilarious.
Okay, somebody out there take video footage of those like bikers you see at the circus where they ride a motorcycle inside a steel sphere. Take that, Photoshop out the biker, put a Zamboni for the whole video. All right.
Somebody go out there and buy a Fearfic Zamboni, please.
Just brand it with the Fearfic characters. Make like, you
need to give us money down below so that we can buy our own Zamboni.
Dude, a 1975 Zamboni is only $5,900 used.
Wow. Should we use GoFundMe or should we go to the niche site, GoBony? I don't know.
Go bone me?
Zamfundme? I don't know. It felt like against weight. It felt like against weight, instead of a giant weight, had been lifted off his chest as he took in deep breaths. He stood up and padded over to his window. Everybody's padding everywhere. And you know what? The story's full of padding.
Abysmii wasn't fucking around. We can get a Zamboni for $3,000, guys.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I looked it up.
Let's do it. Let's buy a Zamboni.
I know it's like we wanted to save this for the new year, but we are going on tour across the U.S. on the Zamboni, so we're coming to your town. That's why we need a Zamboni, guys.
God damn it. I just want to get out of this quickly. He saw nothing. Nobody was out there. No ghosts, no figures, nothing. Phew, I made it.
He heard the rustling and the coughing of his father outside the doorway. His door was closed. Wide shut.
Why do we need to know that? Okay.
Oh, time to start my day with a little rustling and coughing.
Going to take a little bit on my pipe. There we go.
He walked over and opened it. Looked out into the hallway once again. He padded down the hallway.
God damn it! Stop saying that!
Stop padding.
And into the kitchen where he found his dad standing and having a smoke in their living room. Toby waited for a second and watched him from around the corner before A burning feeling started deep within his urethra, started deep within his chest.
What would you guys think if the story was named Patty Poopy? I don't know.
Patty
Poop. Patty poo poo.
Patty Poo Poo.
God damn
I
it.
would respect it more.
Slenderman and his favorite proxy, Patty Poo Poo. What?
The kids always made fun of him because he couldn't control his bowels and had to wear a diaper everywhere.
He never could feel his colon, so he just pooped constantly.
He wore a diaper and footy pajamas, so he padded everywhere.
Oh, God.
Deep, boiling anger overtook him. He heard the little imaginary voices in his head. Do it, do it, do it, they chanted.
It's just an imaginary hockey stand. Do it, do it.
He turned away and held his arms. He felt like he actually had control over himself, unlike he did for the past few weeks since he got home from the hospital. He actually had complete thoughts for just moments before the chanting of the little voices in his head clouded them.
Whew. Kill him. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. Kill him, they continued on before doing the wave. Toby trembled. No, he wasn't going to do it. What, was he going crazy? No, he won't kill anyone. He can't. He hated his father, but there was no way he was going to kill him. The gang kills their fathers.
The gang kills his father with the Zamboni.
Yes.
That was it, the last thought he had before he fell into an idle state once again. The influencers of Twitter and Instagram.
Fucking hell.
Do it.
Logan Paul?
The influence of the voices in his head was too much.
I hear voices in my head. They can't me. They understand.
Abysmii, don't you know that Creed song?
Of course, my internal voices. Yeah, no, it's a good one.
He began to silently walk up behind his father.
I don't like where this is going.
He reached around.
No.
He reached over the counter to the knife in the case. He grabbed it in his hand. He felt the sensation take over his chest. He let out a snicker.
Okay, he is uncontrollably pooping himself. He's letting out a snicker.
Hello, my friend, we'll meet again. It's been a while, let's go kill my dad.
Knife case wide open.
Oh, okay, here we
My
go.
snicker doodle.
I shit my pants, banning in it.
With ass wide open. Oh, God.
Folks, where else on the internet, nigh the universe, can you get Ticci Toby mashed up with Creed memes?
Welcome to my pants. I'll show you everything. All right, anyway.
Ha ha ha. He began laughing so hard he had to shit his pants. He had to gasp for breath. His father turned around abruptly before he felt a brute force shove him to the floor. He grunted as the air was knocked out of him. Oh, you can say air knocked out there, but wheeze out in the other one? Whatever.
His dad totally wheezed out.
My dad woke up today and wheezed out. It was fucking funny.
What? He looked up at the boy who stood over him, grasping the kitchen knife in his hand.
I imagine it more as, what? What do you want?
What is it? Toby, what are you doing? He went to sit up and put his arms out in front of him in self-defense. But before he knew it, Toby was on top of him. I don't like where this is going. He went to grab his neck, but his father reached out and blocked his hand by grabbing onto his wrist.
What are you going to do? Stab me?
Yeah.
Says stab victim.
Yes. Stop! Get off of me, you little fucker, he yelled, and with his other hand he threw an off-center punch toward Toby's shoulder, but he didn't stop.
The look in Toby's eyes was not sane. It looked as if a demon had taken control of him. He yelled back and went to stab the knife into his father's chest, but his father blocked him and grabbed onto his wrist once again. This person doesn't know how to write a dramatic scene. He went to shove him back, but Toby kicked his feet out in front of him and landed a hard blow straight into his father's face. His father recoiled and pushed his arms away to cuff his face.
Pulled his arms away to cuff his face. That makes sense.
Okay.
And the wife in the club stabbed me in the face. Stabbed me in the face. Stabbed me in the face. But Toby got back up and drove the knife straight into his shoulder.
His father let out a loud cry and went to pull the knife out, but before he could, Toby threw his fist straight into his face.
Right.
He began to pound his fists into his head, laughing and wheezing. He cracked his neck and grabbed the knife and ripped it out of his father's shoulder. He drove it deep into his dad's chest and repeatedly stabbed into his torso, blood spilling out and getting splattered everywhere.
It's got spots all over the dresses that were hanging everywhere.
Oh my God, it's like a David Lynch film. He didn't stop until his father's body went still. He threw the knife over to the side and leaned over his body, coughing and panting. He stared at his father's mashed-in face and sat there twitching until a loud scream broke the silence. He looked over to see his mother standing a few feet away, covering her mouth, tears streaming down her face.
All right, so unsolicited advice from Slimebeast time. Rather than epic fight scene, where there's like, kung fu fighting or, blows thrown back and forth like a brawl. Usually what I find personally, and this is just my own personal opinion, if you want to like horrify or scare somebody or, have a good horror scene where somebody gets murdered, try to think of like some kind of off-the-wall, unusual response to somebody being attacked. Like, he could have stabbed the father in the kidney or something, and the father could have turned around and asked, who did that? And, have some kind of weird, thing, because people, in real situations, people do crazy shit. People get, like, something embedded in their skull and they drive to work with blood all over them and they try to go to work and people are like, what the fuck? And they get rushed to the hospital. So sometimes off-the-wall things are more horrifying, than just, like, a big fight. I don't know.
You just, you get stabbed in the kidney. It's like, time to drive a Zamboni.
Yeah, exactly. He went to work at the hockey rink, but yeah.
This really is the hallmark of the younger crowd of Creepypasta fans who just go into overly detailed gore, but at the same time, it's still rather tame just because of how matter-of-fact it is.
Right.
And it's just, again, it's like reading out a coroner's report. It's just, okay.
Toby, she screamed. Why did you do that? She cried. Why? She screamed again. Toby stood up and began to back away from his father's bloody corpse. He began to back out of the kitchen. He's just... It's like that... What is it? Is it The Simpsons where... Is it Homer that, like, backs all the way through his day? He just goes backing up all the way through the city. That's what's going on here. He looked down at the blood-soaked bandages on his hands and looked up at his mother one last time before he turned and ran out of the house backwards. He ran into the garage and slammed his hand against the control panel on the wall and pushed the button to open the garage door, not necessary.
Good Lord.
Before he ran out, he noticed his father's hatchets.
His collection of hatchets.
His hatchet collection. Well, you see, sometimes a kid just don't learn, so you got to take a hatchet to him. Which had been hanging...
Son, there's two things important in this life. One Zambonis, the other's his hatchets.
I'm just imagining a Zamboni, and on the side of it, there's little hooks with hatchets hanging off of it.
Dude, okay. Zamboni killer.
Yeah.
Runs people over, wields hatchets, throws them at people, chops their heads off.
Yeah.
This is a great throwback 80s slasher. Someone make this, or I'm gonna, somehow.
Everybody fear the hatchet Zamboni.
This summer, watch the hatchets fly as this killer takes you to the Zamboneyard. Oh well. Which had been hanging on the tool rack above a table full of jars filled to the brim with old rusted nails and screws. Okay. Anyway.
Oh my God. One of the hatchets was new and had a bright orange handle and a shiny blade. And the other was old with a wooden handle and an old dull blade. He grabbed both and looked down at the table and saw a box of matches, and under a table was red gasoline tank. He held both of the hatchets in one hand and grabbed two matches, wrong two, and gasoline before running out of the garage, down the driveway, and up the Zamboni wide street.
Can I just make another suggestion? We need to know the measurements of the hatchet. Were they 1 meter across and 2 meters long?
Mm-hmm. As he approached the streetlights, he could see his own bedroom window. He heard the police sirens in the distance.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
As he approached the streetlight, that he could see out his own bedroom window.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He heard police sirens in the distance. So this is the streetlight from before that Slenderman was standing under.
Oh my god.
That's the same one, guys.
He turned around, and the red and blue flashing lights came rushing down the street. Toby stood for a second before he pulled open the cap on the gasoline tank and ran down the street, spilling gasoline all over the street after him. What do you mean, before him?
Uh-huh.
He turned and ran into the trees. He poured the last bit
He's running backwards, remember?
Good point. He poured the last bit of gasoline out before he reached into his pocket and pulled out a match. He struck it against the box and immediately dropped it. In an instant, flames burst around him. The fire caught on the trees and bushes. That's not how that works.
Huh.
And before he knew it, he was surrounded by fire. The silhouettes of police cars were visible through the flames as he backed away into the forest around him. He looks around, but his vision was blurred. His heart was pounding, and his eyes closed for a moment. This was it. This was the end.
So is he trying to burn himself, or is he just trying to prevent himself from being followed? Or
So all this would accomplish, because it didn't say that he poured it around the garage. This just means that he has a line of fire following him into the forest where he's hiding.
Right. He's like the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Yeah, I don't know what's trying to be accomplished here.
Toby felt a hand on his bulge, on his shoulder. He opened his eyes and looked over to see a large white hand with long bony fingers resting on his shoulder. "Well, hello there," came a voice. "Say there, son." He followed the arm that was attached to the hand up to a dark, towering figure. It appeared to be wearing a dark black suit, and its face was completely blank.
Can you believe it was Slenderman, guy?
Oh my god.
They keep re-describing Slenderman.
Jesus.
I don't know. We don't know if it's Slenderman because we don't know if it's tall. Anyway, it towered
It's obviously
over
not
Toby.
Slenderman if it has a red fucking tie.
God damn it.
Mm.
It towered over Toby's small frame as it looked down on him. Tendrils reached out from its back. Before Toby knew it, his vision blurred, and he heard the sound of ringing in his ears. Everything went black. That was it. That was the end. That was how Toby Rogers died. I almost read that as Toby Maguire. Pizza time, Toby said. I want pictures of Ticci Toby. What?
A few weeks later, Connie sat in her sister's kitchen. Her sister, Lori, who is being mentioned at the very end of the story, why are we name-dropping her, sat next to her drinking a cup of coffee. About 3 weeks ago, Connie lost her husband and her son, and a few weeks before, she lost her daughter to a car crash.
Really?
Since then, she moved in with her sister. The police were keeping her busy. They had just finished cleaning up the case, and the story had been released.
They had her
2 weeks
running
ago.
boxes to and fro.
Hey, Connie, boy. Oh, these shoelaces on all these police shoes are really tangled. Think you could...
Could you rustle us up some coffee, doll?
Oh, damn.
That's how the law works in Canada. If you're the victim of a crime and your entire family dies, you're just a slave to the police now.
You're a ward of the state.
Yeah, you're just... listen, you gotta clean up. Can you please get in a bikini and wash the Zamboni cruiser for us?
God damn it. The entire
patrol
police
Zamboni.
force. Yeah, entire police force on Zambonis.
The focus of the world seemed to have shifted to completely new stories.
Lori switched the TV on to a news broadcast. On the TV, the news reporter began introducing the new headline.
Now, to introduce the new headline here on TV.
Here on TV station.
Welcome to the television channel. 100% broadcasting of TV all the time.
I'm anchor hostworthy.
Here's the news.
We have breaking news. Last night there have been reported the murder of 4 individuals. There are no suspects yet, but
Last
the victims...
night there have been reported. God damn it.
There are no suspects yet, but the victims were a group of middle school kids who had been out in the woods late last night. The kids had been bludgeoned and stabbed to death.
Oh.
The investigators have discovered a weapon at the crime scene. It appears to be an old dull blade hatchet. As you can see here, we have it. He just holds it up in front of him.
If the police would like it, I'm putting it on eBay. Starting bid is $20.
Those kids aren't dead. The crisis act is it's all fake news.
Yeah.
Fake news. There's no Zambonis in Canada.
The picture changed to show snapshots of the weapon exactly as it was left at the crime scene. Investigators have pulled the name of a possible suspect. Toby Rogers, a 17-year-old boy who stabbed his father to death a few weeks ago and tried to cover up his escape by setting a fire in the streets and forest area around the neighborhood. Although they believed the young boy had died in the fire, investigators suspect Rogers might still be alive due to the fact that his body was never found.
Due to the fact that he doesn't understand how fire works.
Fireworks.
Fireworks.
So that's the end of that story.
Holy shit.
He should have he invented the Zamboni, I guess. I don't know.
This is rated 9.07 out of 10. 574 votes. Wow.
You know what? Kastoway is a great artist. I clicked their DeviantArt link. Really good artwork.
I'm afraid to, but I'm doing it.
No, I'm not joshing.
Yeah, that's the thing is that'll carry you, you know. And if someone else won't make the art for you, then you gotta make it yourself.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Speaking of which, we need a lot of fan art of our characters, guys. Don't make us do it ourselves. We don't wanna.
We're lazy.
But yeah, so that was a story. That wasn't at all what I expected Ticci Toby to be. It was not as... I would venture to say it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
It's a significantly better version of Jeff the Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
I'll say this, even though they got Slenderman right, wish Slenderman was straight up deleted from this story, and
Yeah.
it really didn't serve a whole
I thought you were going
purpose.
to say you wish Slenderman was straight. I was like, why?
Hey.
So this got a 9.07 out of 10 from 574 votes.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh. Well, who listens to Abysmii?
Apparently no one. My wife doesn't. My co-hosts don't.
Uh,
This is why I drink.
so, why do you drink?
This has been the Fear Fiction Podcast. Your hosts are Abysmii, Dead Palette, and Slimebeast. Music by Abysmii. Art by C.F. Comer. Voiceover by Atticus Jackson. Edited by Elias the Intern. Subscribe to Fearfic on YouTube to stay up to date on new episodes.
I must say, gentlemen, with candor and honesty, that was the best story I've read in eternity, and I've been around for eternity. I'm sorry I question your collective judgment. Ashcan Horror can have a permanent spot in the halls of horror.
I've been meaning to ask about that. What are the halls of horror?
Oh, it just means I like things.
DP is very easily conned.
So that's all that happens. We don't gain respect in the world of writing?
No, I just like people reading to me.
I guess we didn't mind doing that. All this means is DP will continue to be a loser.
And I'll continue to be an alien.
Fuck this. Please take us back to our normal dimension.
Surely, surely. But first, 2 more ads to part on before I take my leave. Gerald Carmichael's premium asbestos lime baby cribs. True sturdy craftsmanship is hard to find nowadays. Everyone's so focused on the war effort and the radio vision teletube that no one's paying attention to the small things. And that must make you worry. Worry about the future soldier or stay-at-home housewife falling out of a cold, rickety crib you purchased secondhand from a shady Amish merchant. Well, worry no longer and invest in a top-of-the-line and cutting-edge, safety-oriented baby crib. And the baby cribs we recommend come from Gerald Carmichael's premium asbestos lime baby cribs company. When paired with a patented Jared Carmichael heavy-duty stain-resistant lead blanket, the insulated cribs are scientifically, theoretically, proven to hypothetically stop radiation in the case of a nuclear attack by one of those errant countries heck-bent on destroying our God-sent rights and duty to police the world. Each and every crib is hand-built by blind craftsmen that only know one thing, what quality feels like. They can sense impending danger and engineer your TOTS nuclear triage center to shelter them from impending doom. Jared Carmichael then hand-stuffs your crib to your specifications, depending on how much you want your neonate to be safe. We recommend at least 5 pounds of asbestos per crib. Gerald Carmichael uses only asbestos from the preeminent leader of asbestos harvesting and production, straight from the Ukraine. Those Ukrainians are always at war with the red turncoat Ruskies, and they're keeping their asbestos production high to ensure they are safe. But Jared Carmichael works with them to make sure that we have enough precious asbestos for your little sprog of delight. So talk to your local furniture sales rep down at Southern Brooks Department Store and tell them you will settle for no less than Jared Carmichael's premium asbestos line baby cribs. That's Jared Carmichael's premium asbestos line baby cribs. Settle for no less than the best asbestos money can get. Raid Shadow Legends mobile trading card and board game. Tired of playing stick and hoop and beat up the kid that's different on the playground? Those old passe games are for knuckleheads. Try something new and exciting and addictive to boot. Raid Shadow Legends mobile trading card and board game has 182 different fictional monsters and subhuman creatures to collect and play with. March them into battle. That's right, they work for you. Play as exciting mythical mischief makers like Vishnu, Communist Dragon, Mormonite, Pickled Scientist, Woman with Short Hair and Pants, Devolutionist, and the Slendered Man. Visit your local Weatherby's Wonderment Widget Weapon and Toy Emporium this Sunday after church for the launch of it. Well, by it, if you're not there, you'll be a long-faced square, because you'll miss out on this week's exclusive ultra-rare card, Gainfully Employed Frenchman. But not just any gainfully employed Frenchman, a hologramical edition. He'll blind you with his ability to hold down a job unlike any real European. Why, you'll be the envy of the playground if you have this card right here. Oh, but we'll have something for the whole family. We know full well adults can't play board games and merriment games, but don't think we have nothing for you. We'll have an early evening martini in Tom Collins's bar, starting promptly at 12:30. Gamble away all of your Pop-Pops nickels on booster packs for a chance to win a Pyrite edition of Catholic Lizard Man and win a trip to Weatherby's Creamery for the summer. Remember, each starter pack comes with 60 cards, 10 of which are ultra rare, a board, and a utility knife. That's Raid's Shadow Legend mobile trading card and board game. No girls allowed.
So you may have heard me speak well of one Jimmy Urine.
I've never heard you speak well, but go ahead.
This plug is over. I'll have you know that I speak well often on several occasions in which, upon post-haste, I verbalize contentiously and contentedly.
Okay, Poe and or Lovecraft.
Poecraft. So yeah, Jimmy Urine is a musician guy who did a thing, and he has a new song out, like a single, I guess, with this dude Twisted from the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh my god, really?
What?
Yes. It's a cover of Hungry Like the Wolf. And
no.
I would suggest
What?
I would suggest people out there look up Jimmy Urine, Twisted with a Z. It's like TWI did, and Hungry Like the Wolf. It's a nice cover. It's a good cover. I liked it. And that's my plug.
Gee, you're fabricating things that don't
See,
exist.
here's the thing. You make fun of the way I mouth sound, and that's what you get. You get a twisted song.
I'm listening to this right after we're done recording.
There's no don't bang it. It's not a real thing. He's just trying to get you to look into it. It's like when Chelsea said, it's like, oh, they're making a new Half-Life game, and I'm like, haha, that's funny. I'm not going to look into that because it's fake. You're making stuff up, Chelsea.
Oh man, that thing looks like, I'm sure a lot of work went into it, but there was something so awkward about seeing VR hands like constantly in frame. It's so weird.
So yeah, if anybody wants to look that up, it's a totally real thing. Just Google How to Make a Bomb by the band How to Join the Alt-Right.